when I finally grow up, I will let you know. Oh, I will let you know. I still play with Lego and Knott's Berry Farm is one of my favorites. Oh, I'm doing no harm. I'm just silly and I like to laugh. I leave a dripping wet trail every time I take a bath, every time I take a bath. Oh, I made up my own language, and I talk to the cats. Shall I be trusted? Oh, I can't answer that. Be annoying with my baby voice. I don't want to force you. Please make your own choice. Please make your own choice. And when I finally grow up, I will let you know. Oh, I will let you know. I'm so sick. The grown-ups must face. I much rather eat candy and jump rope with grace. I love to be lazy on weekdays and such. I copy my homework on Monday. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And when I finally grow up, I will let you know. I will let you know. And when I finally grow up, I will let you know. I will let you know. Finally grow up, I will give you a call.
All right. Oh, I cut that too early. How unprofessional is that? Hello, everybody. And I am actually in world. Where am I? Here I am. At the True Life Circus. You can find me in world. I'm somewhere on the book club archipelago. And so you can hang out, but you have to find me in world. It's not that hard. And it's an Ask Me Anything on my Res Day. Thank you, everyone who wished me happy Res Day. And I see on the stream is Beverly's Zauberflöte and Chris. This is insane. Chris and Beverly have not watched a live stream for years, but now they're here. And incidentally, we're going to watch an older video that features Chris. One of my favorite little reportages when voice first came in, and it's just a historical document of immense importance and also immense hilarity. Hello, Shyla. Who else is here? So today, I just put in the description, ask me anything, so you can ask me anything, and I'll decide if I answer. But I also went through the archives um, and unearthed a bunch of things, a bunch of interesting older pieces. I'm not going to play the same old that we did at the fundraiser. I hope not. But since when scrolling through my Flickr, this picture came up, and here you can actually see in the caption. This is former President Jimmy Carter. And in the back here, this is the real me. This is in 2008 with the Human Rights Media Award ceremony in Paris, 2008. There's a funny story attached to that. If you guys want to hear it, you need to tell me yes. It's a very funny story. I traveled to Paris because of the virtual Guantanamo story and met with a lot of real life journalists who did amazing human rights work in Gaza, in Indonesia, in India. And I was the only guy with, I felt really like a fraud because I did a piece on a virtual recreation of the Guantanamo prison, which I'm proud of, but I was behind my computer, and these other journalists were actually in the field, in harm's way, so to speak. Beverly says yes, she wants to hear the story. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the story. I come to Paris. I feel really weird that I'm this only guy, and then like a video game guy or whatever, faking it, while the other journalists basically wear bulletproof vests and do interviews with mass murderers and cover genocide. But very soon, within an hour meeting the others, they very much respected what I was putting, on the table here, journalistically, the sort of advocacy journalism and highlighting uses of virtual worlds for human rights. So that was awesome. So we were getting along really well, and then there was the award ceremony, and afterwards, I met Peter Gabriel. I stalked him. That's in the Made in SL documentary. But the funny thing was, one of the organizers came up to me of this Every Human Has Rights Award and asks me, "Would you like to talk to, are you fine talking to radio journalists about your work?" And I said, "Sure, I talk to any journalist." And so she introduces me to a woman from Radio France. And the woman, I'm gonna do this with a French accent, okay? Every French person in the audience, please don't be offended. So she says, "Oh, hello. So I want to ask you, you went to Guantanamo. This is very exciting, amazing, because nobody is allowed, no journalists are allowed in Guantanamo. How did you get to Guantanamo?" And I said, "Well, wait a minute. I actually did not go to the Guantanamo in the physical realm. And I was stuttering. This is in the computer. This is a world in the computer, and it's a recreation. It's kind of an art project, and I see this woman getting madder and madder as I'm speaking, and so I shut up, and she screams at me, says, "What do you mean video games? Is Guantanamo a game to you?" And I said, "No, Guantanamo is not a game. We're trying to highlight the the atrocities, the abandoning of the rule of law, blah 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 blah. And she's like, a video game? You think it's a video game? You Americans are crazy. And then I said something that maybe I shouldn't have, mm, because I was very defensive, and I said, "Well, I'm not actually American. I'm a green card holder. I'm a resident, but I'm actually German." And she says, "Ah, I should have known the Germans even more perverse than the Americans." And she's not wrong. I mean, she's obviously not wrong. Sad to say. Actually, speaking about perversity, I'm gonna show a piece later that I did about the an operation in Gaza in 2008. The ongoing 75 plus years, actually it's 100 years of ethnic cleansing in Gaza, but that's later. I did a Second Life piece that I would do differently today, but I'm still okay with it. I would be harsher with my judgment for sure. But anyway, so thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, this is an Ask Me Anything. You can throw out questions like, did you want to marry Philip Rosedale in 2007, for example? The answer is no. Did you ever meet Philip Rosedale in well, yes, but I was gonna. Okay. Well, you have to ask these questions. I just want to show you where I am in case you're trying to find it. Again, this is on the um archipelago, on the book club archipelago. This was a set that we initially built for. Her book is right there. I don't recall the name. God, terrible, terrible I am. Let me check this out. Carrie Lee for her book The Storm's Betrayal. And then we recycled this set for Alex Humphreys, Playing with Reality, Gaming in a Pandemic. This is a very interesting book. It features Shyla the Super Gecko and me and a lot of others. So let's get started with. Did I guys tell you the story about the Pebble Beach Rotary Club in Second Life? People probably heard that, but let's watch. I have lined up a whole bunch of different videos from over these last 18 years. For the Made in SL documentary, for the movie, I think I said in that interview that I have about 1,000 videos. I'm not counting the ones I did for the official Second Life channel. It's probably a little bit more, and these are obviously some are very short, some are 2-3 minutes long. But I did a lot of, if you will, corporate work during the heyday, and maybe we'll watch one of those. Beverly, the sign up story. Oh, I love that story. Since I feel this is one of the stories I told so many times that I feel people are bored by it. But since Beverly asked, and very good to see you, Beverly. Please don't be a stranger in the world. Since Beverly asked, I should probably answer this question. Okay. So 2007, I was working on music for a romantic comedy for Buena Vista, which is now Disney, in Germany. I was a year in Germany, then we went back to the US 2008. But 2007, I was in Munich, Germany, working on this movie. I finished the music, and I sent the music to a friend in Hamburg who I used to play in a band with in my early 20s. And I sent him the music to mix it and to master it for the CD publication. And I'm on the phone with him, and I tell him, "Oh my God, we reminisce. Like, do you miss touring? Do you miss, being on the road and in hotels and stuff like that?" And I really don't miss it, I say. And he says, "Yeah, me neither. But you know what? We could have a virtual band." And I had read the timeline is not I'm not 100% sure on the timeline, but I was reading Snow Crash at the time, or I just finished it. So my friend Sandy says we can have a virtual band, and something clicks in my head and says, "Virtual band? What are you talking about?" And he says, "Yeah, this thing, Second Life, and whatnot." And then he said, "Oh, I gotta go, dinner time." Bob hangs up the phone, and I go, "Second Life virtual band? What the hell?" I search for Second Life. I find the homepage. It's all in one rushed thing. There was no contemplating it. There was something clicking that this is something that you've been looking for, something to connect with creative people without any geographic boundaries. I go on the website, I hit sign up. I have to go to the Wayback Machine to really know what the sign up was, but obviously there were last names. I didn't even think twice. Dupre, that's how I pronounce it. Joaquin Dupre is a composer of the Renaissance period. Draxtor, didn't even think about it. Draxtor, Dupre. Boom, I sign up, I log in, and I try to find my friend Sandy under his real name. I type his real name into search in Second Life, nothing comes up. And I was like, okay, this is very cool, but I gotta connect to Sandy. So I'm logging off. I'm picking up the phone, call my friend in Hamburg, say, Sandy, I'm in World. And he goes like, "What are you talking about in World?" I said, "Well, I'm in that virtual world. Where are you?" And he says, "What? I'm not playing these stupid video games." And he hangs up the phone. So that's that. And then the rest is history. So that was pretty funny. And then I had at the time one of the early T-Mobile Sidekick, a mobile phone with a full keyboard. Look it up, the Sidekick 2 T-Mobile. This was really cool. And I was on this film set where I was writing the music, and I was already in Second Life, and I was completely obsessed with it. And there was, of course, email notification, sorry, email forwarding, right? So this was something from the very beginning. So I'm on this movie set for this movie, for this romantic comedy for Disney, somewhere in it was not Malta, it was somewhere by the North Sea somewhere. And I'm on the set because I play a little cameo appearance, and I'm constantly on the phone. Shyla remembers these phones. These were really cool. This was basically, I still have mine. I mean, I don't know if it works, but it was a full keyboard. Anyway, I'm on the set. I'm only an extra, very much in the background, but I'm constantly texting. I'm constantly basically texting with people in Second Life with the email forwarding. And it's funny because now I'm going around when I commute with the train or something, and I'm always reading a book, and I see these people glued to their phones and go like, "Oh my God, so sad." Well, I was one of them, but it was not sad because I was talking to my friends in Second Life. It was constantly, and the director, the friend of mine, he says, "What the fuck are you constantly texting here with people?" And they go like, "I'm in Second Life," and I go like, "Yeah, yeah." And I don't remember. He probably said something like, "Yeah, yeah, you should get a First Life or whatever." So yeah, that's that. Hi, Mystic. Is Chris still here? Chris Galatia, where are you? So since Chris is here, I think the first video that we're gonna watch, and I just saw Stranger Nightfire is here in the world. Stranger, you can type, or you can also speak. Let me see. Yeah, I think I have sound up. Um, if you have a question, but Chris Galatea was in the chat. Ah, he still is. Okay, so now let's watch one of my favorite um reportages from the olden days. And this was when, and Chris, maybe you want to type what you remember. Chris had a sim. I don't remember the name, but it was one of the sims with where voice was first enabled. And so people congregated, to test out voice, and it was hilarious. And there were people from all walks of life, all walks of political life, right-wingers, left-wingers, communists, people from Scotland, and so I just love that. I just love that story. Oops, my cursor's captured. I'm gonna get rid of that. So first voice. Without any further ado, let's play this video because it's self-explanatory, because it's a reportage. Before I came to Second Life and started with these, with the reporting, like I say, I have sort of a dual, I don't want to call it career, but I worked in radio at an NPR station, and that's really the credit to my boss there and how I was trained with these stories, and I just applied that to Second Life. So my early machinima, I had absolutely no idea how to do machinima or anything visual. You know, I worked in the music department for the films I worked at the time, but visually it's all self-taught. But what was solid from the beginning was the sort of the storytelling and the pacing. So here's first voice. Let's see here. Here we go.
I will now share a secret from behind the scenes. All audio in the Live for You broadcasts either originates from a Skype conversation or it is recorded at the dubbing stage. But today we present a first look at voice via the First Look client available on secondlife.com, broadcasting from one of the first voice-enabled sims, Chris Galatea's Wings 2 nightclub. I suppose you're pretty thrilled that your region is voice-enabled. You're getting a lot more traffic?
Yeah, I mean, within the first 24 hours, the traffic went from just a measly 145 to 7,500, and we don't sell anything.
But you sell communication, so to speak.
Well, it's being supplied to us by Vivox and Second Life, and so far everybody's having a blast.
A lot of people, though, say it's like an assault on privacy, and with text chat I was able to be somebody else, and now I'm more inhibited.
Well, I think it's like anything else. The world has changed a lot since I've been here, and if they decided to say, well, we're not going to do advances like this, we wouldn't have flexi prims, we wouldn't have dances. This is just something people have got to adapt to. I'm sure that years ago people said, we don't need this fancy schmancy 3D world to chat in. We've got text boxes, thank you very much.
People are actually still saying that all the time to me. They say, why do I need a 3D internet? The old internet is fine.
That's their choice, and it's the same with the voice. You can choose to speak just like you can in real life.
Yeah.
You know, I can not pick up the phone.
Do you think that voice is gonna sort of lower the level of discourse?
I think that text has that thing. If I press enter, I'm going to commit to saying this. So I suppose psychologically there's always that thing. It's not going to change what people think. Some people are just going to say it without thinking about it. So you're just going to know how they think a bit sooner than rather discovering it slowly with chat. People that don't want to use voice saying that, well, you're forcing voice on me. My thing to them is, well, aren't you forcing text on me now?
When Chris invited random people up to the table to chat, it was quite an amazing thing to witness. Vivox is the company who implemented the voice feature in SL, and Rockin' Randall is their in-world go-to guy.
There are people who have visual acuity problems. Text chat, if more than a couple people are chatting, they can't follow along. You add voice to it, you make Second Life so much better for those folks.
Once I revealed myself as a member of the media, though...
What is your motive? Are you doing research here? Are you a psychologist?
The conversation very quickly got heated. The deep division in America over current politics became apparent when Marie Elise turned out to be a fan of public broadcaster NPR.
I love NPR.
NPR is the only thing that actually arrives in where I live.
My condolences.
It's actually not so bad.
Rockin' Randall, you are not an NPR listener?
No, I'm not.
Who do you listen to?
Bill O'Reilly?
Okay, I gotta go right now.
Somebody give me something to grief him with.
Just broke the first rule in SL. Don't talk politics.
When a Scottish fella by the name of Saturn showed up, the conversation heated up even more.
It's not that far away from the Matrix when you think about it, because we're getting brainwashed. You know, it's okay for some people to invade certain countries when it's totally against the whole Geneva Convention and everything, man. We've got to use SL definitely as a political vehicle.
People obviously have different opinions on whether SL should be used to discuss politics or not. I would say you be the judge. Harmony was reinstated quickly when Rockin' Randall and Chris Galatea handed out free voice gestures. All differences in point of view vanished instantly.
Those are so cool. Can I have some too, please?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, me too.
I was watching you
like
do
some.
that.
There you go, guys.
How do you trigger one of these gesture thingies? Ah, yeah, I gotta talk loud, right?
I am Draxtor Despres for Life for You News.
Hey, it works. Cool.
I'm still using these speech gestures, by the way. Why are always these bubbles coming into my face? Oh, here, this is from the elephant. Yeah, that's right. So that was oh my God, those were the days, and bittersweet because Vivox is soon to be no more, just like Bill O'Reilly. He's no more either. I should mention that this piece was done for Life for You News. Life for You was an outlet. Let me see. I should have another one here. A short. Yeah. So Life for You News was really kind of cool, innovative thing by two journalists, real life journalists from Berlin, and they did this magazine show in SL, and they started in 2007. So just a few months before I came. No, wait a minute. They must have started in 2006. I don't remember now. I should have researched that. I'm a bad historian. Or maybe they did. They came in later, and I was already doing my thing. And then, anyway, but they approached me, and so I did a whole bunch of stories for them. And here's actually a quick best of Life for You. I have all of those on my channel. Maybe next time I'll do all of them. I'll do a special Life for You retrospective because what they did conceptually with sort of a magazine TV show was really cool. The other thing that was very, very cool, just as an aside, was the SLN magazine, Slang, which was a real-life magazine about arts and culture in Second Life from a bunch of guys out of Poland. I still have a few of those issues in my physical shelf. So let's play this best of Life for You because you'll see a little bit also some other stuff that they did. There was a cyber extruder thing. God damn it, so much cool stuff. Anyway, hello Benjamin, Mystic, already acknowledged you. And yeah, here's best of Life for You. I think they only did this for 2 years. Here we go. Where is it? Best of Life for You news.
This is Life for You, the first TV magazine in Second Life, with Kira Singh and Christoph Broom.
Don't worry. We won't forget to bring you the lighter side of our world as well.
And why do you think it's necessary to be quiet in the library?
Because people are sleeping.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
There's a little bit of a tingly feeling.
Over $3 million Linden dollars were stolen by a former employee from the ATM machines at the World Stock Exchange. Our reporter Marmaduke Myrtle fills in for the vacationing Draxtor Despres.
Buyers sellers is Professor Robert Bloomfield, who studies real-world markets at Cornell University.
It's probably more useful to think of them as toy markets. Games somehow sound unreal.
In the three-dimensional internet, a large part of web design becomes architecture.
Second Life is a place for direct communication, for direct democracy.
I found CDS to be the only truly democratic community in Second Life.
All gambling has been banned from Second Life.
I am a disabled U.S. veteran. This is my sole source of income.
Spanky Straff is now head of the group Anti-SL Socialism Today, which openly considers Linden Lab a totalitarian regime.
Are you familiar with Alice in Wonderland?
The cat, the caterpillar, the fighting twins, the white rabbit, the Mad Hatter, the evil queen.
Late last year, a group of people reverse-engineered the Second Life software.
My $325 Linden shoes were being sold in a newbie shop for only 40 lindens.
How did you solve the problem?
I located the shop owner and talked to him. And then I went to the SL boutique and filled out a DCMA.
The horse carriage died when the car arrived. Digital downloads killed the music industry, except for Sony BMG, which seems to be doing alright.
Justice. Only in Second Life, the accused person was imprisoned for 226 days in real life.
There's ubiquitous surveillance happening all the time, done by all of us. It's a question, of whether we should change our behavior and stop taping everything.
Draxtor Dupre got a new perfume delivered right to his door in the middle of the night.
As an avid freebie hunter, I just couldn't pass up the opportunity. I gave away a little privacy and picked up the product.
Here's wishing you all
a great second...
Pause after all. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Wait a second. Yeah, go ahead.
I got so much mileage out of this cardboard Draxtor cutout. I still have that one. I should put it behind glass. Yeah, Live for You news. I mean, really, really cool stuff we did there. It's funny, that was also, of course, the time when people said the first this, the first that. I don't know if Live for You was the first TV magazine in Second Life, but it was certainly the most ambitious one at the time, with the most professional approach. I'm going to put all these together in a playlist for the YouTube channel, because I think I did maybe 20 pieces, and I also did pieces with an alt that I filmed and wrote, but a friend of mine voiced it, and that guy was Marmaduke Myrtle. Let's play that with Marmaduke Myrtle, because he did one on the SL Stock Exchange. I mean, frankly, obviously we know as SL residents is that SL is not a pyramid scheme. It's not a scam. But there were, just like SL is not a game, but there's certainly games in it. And just like SL is not a scam, but there's certainly scams in it. So the SL exchange was kind of scammy. And those were the lawless days. Now, Linden Lab is much more careful. And I know there may be people who think freedom has gone. Freedom is, it's totalitarianism. As you saw this other story that I did where the guy made this poster, if you play SL, you download communism. That was a very interesting story about gambling, where Linden Lab had to comply with new legislation, and they basically nuked all the casinos. And it was sad. There were people who made their livelihood with casinos in SL, and they woke up in the morning, they logged in, and their casino was gone. But Linden Lab had to comply with this legislation. Certainly, one could critique the communication with the user base. I think that's a valid criticism, an ongoing one. But let's play this SL Stock Exchange story with Marmaduke Myrtle, basically a character we created with my friend John McNally, and he has a great voice. He used to work at KCRW in LA. He interviewed Frank Zappa back in 87, 88. But John McNally is voicing this character, Marmaduke Myrtle. Here we go. The SL Stock Exchange, not a scam.
Is investing in stocks inside Second Life just gambling with play money, or an investment in the technology of the future? A packed crowd, including the elite of in-world finance, gathered at last Friday's Geek Meet on Dr. Dobbs Island to try to figure it out. In real life, moderator of the panel, Buyers Sellers, is Professor Robert Bloomfield, who studies real-world markets at Cornell University.
It's probably more useful to think of them as toy markets. Games somehow sound unreal. Toys are real. You can make a toy train. It can carry small amounts of goods from one side of your room to the other. But if things go wrong, you don't worry about lots of people dying.
Nick Wilson, editor of Metaverse.com, hosted the meeting. He says he is no expert on markets, but he is sure that the institutions that control the Linden dollars,
they see it as a game. I think they see it as almost being play money.
And among avatar investors,
there's a mix of beliefs. People that are in it seriously and people that see it as gambling.
Wilson says without regulation and therefore accountability, the whole spiel might be in serious trouble.
Real money, a lot of real money in some cases, going through the books, or not through the books at all for some of these companies.
Trader John Sousa is the volunteer chair of the Second Life Exchange Commission, which hopes to introduce real-life standards to in-world markets. For the new investor,
the most important advice is research. Know the people who you are dealing with as best as you can. Look into the company. Do they have a track record? Is this someone who is brand new?
The exchanges raise real money, but are the companies real?
The SLEC is developing currently an entire educational program, not just for the investor, by the way, but also for companies. A lot of these people are quite genius coders and developers, don't really have the business background.
Every financial expert in SL I talked to agreed, let the buyer beware, just like in real life.
Spread a relatively limited amount of Lindens across many different companies to own a small part of many different companies and reducing your risk factor.
And use in-world investment as a learning experience. Start small. Maybe you could win big. Again, buyers, sellers.
Along with the notion that these markets are essentially toy markets, they're also excellent educational devices. If you are trying to understand a little bit more about markets, whether you do or do not have regulations in place, I think that there's a lot that investors can get out of it.
Winning big. I'm digging into my piggy bank as we speak. So, let's find out which of my favorites are listed. Watch out, Rupert Murdoch. Someday I will be the media mogul of Second Life. This is Marmaduke Mattel for Life for You News.
It's the root of all evil, of strife and upheaval, but I'm certain, honey, that life would be sunny with plenty of money and you.
Yeah, I have to correct myself. SL Exchange Commission is the entity that that was portrayed among other luminaries who are all pretty much, important influencers in the SL sphere. The fetid inner core, as Prokofiev would say. I think these days people don't even know who Prokofiev is anymore. Anybody in the chat know who Prokofiev is? God. Oh boy. Yeah, buyer sellers. It was the name of the guy who was seen. He had a kind of a podcast thing as well. Now, let's jump a little bit ahead. We were talking about Guantanamo, virtual Guantanamo back in 2007, and I have let's watch. I'm looking here through my lined up stuff. Let's do one of my favorite videos with Strawberry, and I talk about this often fondly because there was a series called What SL Means to Me. And I don't recall if I came up with it or she did or we both did. Somebody did, and we made videos, What SL Means to Me, and we also solicited videos from the community and from other Lindens. They're all on YouTube. Strawberry has a list on her channel, and it was very cool. People did their own videos and talked very passionately about why they love SL so much. And I did this one. I did Strawberries and mine, and from Gentle Heron from Virtual Ability. I did that one too. That was 10 years ago. It was in 2015 when we did that. Here's Strawberry Singh. Back then, Singh was her last name. Now it's Linden. You know how that goes. Divorce, remarry, whatnot.
In Second Life, my name is Strawberry Singh. What is Second Life to me? I use Second Life as a form of expression. I'll dress up my avatar, take pictures of her. I use that to process my feelings. If I'm going through a rough time, you'll see that kind of interjecting into my pictures. If I'm feeling particularly happy or energetic, you might see that in my pictures. That also goes alongside with the words and the things that I write on my blog. Second Life is huge. I can go into SL and explore the grid, and I'll see what inspires me. If it's an urban sim or if it's a fantasy sim, my imagination, my creativity, my feelings, everything gets poured into that image. I have had very vivid dreams about Second Life. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, was that real? Did I actually go to this place? Because that's what Second Life is. It's a platform for the residents, the content creators. That's what was there in their mind and their imagination. They translated that into Second Life, and I'm able to explore their dreams.
Strawberry Singh with what Second Life means to me. Really, really cool. And yeah, the others are very good too. Look up her channel and the full playlist. So since this is a Ask Me Anything, the only question came from Beverly, and Beverly's gone. Does anybody have a question? Why am I still in Second Life? Am I leaving? You know, I like April Fools, and traditionally on April Fools, I say that I'm leaving SL, and I decided this time around, I'm not doing that. Let me get rid of. Oops.
Is investing in stocks inside Second Life
just here? This time I'm not doing that. I'm going to stay, and I'm going to continue to work on the new series, the Drax Files, made in SL. Stranger, do you have any questions? Nobody has any questions. I could ask myself a question. Do you think SL is important in 2025? The answer is yes. Second Life is one of the last bastions of free expression and true connection on the internet. Everything else is algorithmically designed to manipulate you and addict you. I'm not saying Second Life could not be addictive in a negative way. Actually, there's only negative addictions, frankly. But Second Life has one big, and I talked about this forever, one difference is that it does not have an algorithm to nudge you towards something that is beneficial to an investor class. That is really the big difference. And this is completely random that these Infinite Jest alternative covers, my favorite novel of all time, of course, are behind me, because Infinite Jest is very much about addiction and manipulation and the melancholy of modern life that comes from the lack of connection between human beings. This novel was first published in 1996. Next year is the 30th anniversary. It couldn't be more timely, couldn't be more important for this moment when the tech oligarchs are running an authoritarian government. Second Life is extremely important because of its independence and the decision that the original Linden Lab team made early on. I interviewed Philip about this, to not be ad supported, but to basically be a subscription model. Now, the ad or the big data model at the time was certainly not. I don't even know if any people probably thought about it. I don't know if that was even an option. So you could say like, oh, we opted against it. But fact of the matter is, today this is more important than ever, as you can see the tech oligarchs lining up behind a fascist leader in a country that dominates a lot of the world. I was going to say for better or for worse. I would say for worse. So technology in the hands of capital and the oligarchy is not a good thing. And who knows? Second Life could have gone that route, and maybe when if Second Life would be owned by a different entity, this could morph into whatever. But at present, Second Life has no algorithmic basis to nudge people towards something that is beneficial for a narrow, small investor class. And just like any other social media offering has, or tech platform, and that's pretty much it. So where do you think we will be in 5 years from now? Well, I could be cynical. I'm not a cynic. I could give a sarcastic answer. We could be with the way that the country where the country that issues my passport is aligning itself with a genocidal state, and the country that issues my green card is leading that effort in ethnic cleansing and genocidal mania, among many other things. I think in 5 years from now, we are way beyond what any Black Mirror episode or what even Infinite Jest could have imagined in terms of totalitarian rule. But I don't want to be sarcastic here, because I'm assuming your question is about Second Life. And to answer that question, to me, Second Life is an empty canvas where I can express myself, and I find that to be healing. If I express myself artistically, if I connect with other people, I think that's the solidarity that's expressed by connecting human to human. If it's through Second Life or in the physical world, it's really, frankly, it's not irrelevant. It's slightly different, but it's equally powerful. Just like, a love letter was powerful, and a love letter sent to a soldier in the trenches in World War I, let's say, was not 8K resolution. So this is my take, and it's well documented, and people have pushed back at that. But I stand firm in saying that visual fidelity is really irrelevant when it comes to connecting with other people. So that's my take on it. And now people say, well, what are you saying? Is Second Life visually inferior? No, that's not what I'm saying. You guys know that Second Life can look amazing, that the malleability of Second Life is infinite, and that Linden Lab is working very hard on improving these things. So that's awesome. But much more important is the ability to connect human to human without an intermediary that is siphoning off data, that is siphoning off art. Like, don't get me started on AI. I don't want to talk about AI on my birthday. AI is really incredibly dangerous on many levels, but just from an artistic standpoint, it's basically theft on a massive scale. Biggest irony is that cringy creep Sam Altman from OpenAI was like, oh my god, the Chinese are stealing our copyright. Dude, your engine was built on stealing copyright from millions of hardworking artists that are not compensated. But that's capitalism as it's designed to function. So yeah, I think in 5 years, Second Life will be in a very good place. Why? Because people who are drawn to a blank canvas, who want to fill that blank canvas with their ideas, who want to connect to other people, they will be here, and that's all that matters. So people might say, well, what also matters is that Linden Lab is not going to go bankrupt because then they have to shut it down. They're not shutting it down. They're not going bankrupt. I don't know what the revenue situation is, but I know that it's working. Even if they're just breaking even, they can sustain it. They're investing in it. And, people have been saying this since I first came in early 2007. What day was that? Oh, wait, February 20th. So this is an anxiety that I understand that kind of anxiety because people have invested a lot into their lives in Second Life. And we are, of course, dependent on the people who run the world. But I don't know. I'm not too concerned about that. And this is another discussion because Cory Doctorow, who was guest many times on the Second Life Book Club, has, of course, written about this, what he calls enshittification. So you guys can Google that and look on social media, hashtag enshittification. What he means by that is basically in the capitalist mode of production, technologies and platforms bring people in. Exciting new platforms bring people in, and then they get shittier and shittier and shittier while extracting more and more. I'm simplifying this a little bit, but extracting data and colonizing your mind and stealing your time and all this kind of good stuff. And you go like, wait a minute, I just invested so much on this platform, uploaded all my stuff, my workflow, I'm completely dependent on this. And the platform providers, they know this because they make you dependent, and then you can't quit. I mean, I just quit Adobe. It was awesome. And I was afraid to quit Adobe for the longest time because I don't have time to relearn another video editing software. I'm constantly producing. And now I'm using and I quit Pro Tools before that, by the way. So I was like, okay, why am I so afraid to quit Adobe? I quit Pro Tools. And I learned Reaper, and now I'm learning that Reaper is an extremely powerful video editing engine. And now I learned DaVinci Resolve in a weekend. So whatever. Besides the point. It's my res day. Mystic has triggered me talking about Adobe. Yeah. So let's watch another thing that I lined up here. Oh, I have a longer one where I play SL Mobile, SL Go as it was called in 2014. This is fun actually. I don't know. Are people interested in SL Go? How it worked? This is a 10-minute video where I'm trying it out for the first time on a tablet. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Then I have a story with the former Linden Lab CEO, Rod Humble. You remember Rod Humble. And Rod Humble spoke at a Second Life community convention in San Francisco 2009. And he did a keynote, and he came up on the podium and he said, "Hi, my name is Rod Humble. I'm the new CEO. I have great news. We're going to shut the service down." So Rod was great, but he didn't last long. He was a very independent minded. I don't know. I don't have any dirt on this, why he left. But the little interaction I had with Rod Humble was that I felt he was just a very sort of also very creative indie guy, and the kind of administrative nightmares of running this big ship, this big ocean liner. He was more like a tinkerer of like he had this little I don't know, yacht that he built himself, and he wanted to build on this yacht rather than being the captain of an ocean liner. So, what do people want? That or the other thing? Nobody's saying anything. Okay, now I'm going to play SL Go, and then a Rod Humble thing. But this SL Go is really fascinating, and I think people who have not experienced how it was, it's amazing. And let me just say, SL Mobile, I'm very strictly a reader when it comes to being, commuting and things of that nature. So I'm not a mobile guy. I'm also I don't have a mobile phone anymore. I mean, I have one to communicate with my dad, but I'm not using it when I'm on the road. I'm traveling with books, so I'm not the customer for SL Mobile, but I tried it in its current stage, and it's absolutely amazing. So this SL Go thing was a third party, a company that was bought by Sony later on and shut down. This SL Mobile now they're building in-house, and it's amazing. So I just want to say that off the bat. I'm not saying like, oh look, 10 years ago Linden Lab did SL Go and look what they're doing now. They're doing amazing stuff right now. So let's watch this though. This is a real great time warp. Again, remember this was 2014. Here we go. Okay, guys, Draxtor here in dire need of a haircut. Was that a good opening line, Kaleo?
That is not a good opening.
All right. This is my avatar at in Silico. It's somewhat magical because the response is amazing. You can see the overlay menu, which takes a little bit getting used to, but you get this whole catalog of explanations. Now, it's actually really, really intuitive. So let's just dive in there and see what happens, okay? When you think about that they stream down what you're actually doing from a server somewhere in, I don't know, Texas, Singapore, München, Germany, or probably not in Munich, but anyway, and you have this little amount of latency. This is just quite amazing. Do you have a headlight on, or?
I'm wearing the headlight, yeah. You have to click on that.
Oh, thank you. Like I said, I'm a noob. Here we go. And now we're wearing the headlight, right? There you go. You can see it. Awesome. All right, so how do we go in? Where do we go in?
You type open in the nearby chat like this.
Here's a scene of an accident. You can look around. Oh yeah, kids and their shooters. I'm content with trying to solve this mystery. Something happened here. Here I get his message, so I could teleport myself. You see the pop-up, and I could, for example, type in Silico, as you can see, but I'm not doing that. I'm going to get rid of the keyboard, and I'm going to retrieve Kaleo's message, which is where? This is not in the notifications. Oops, now we can see the issue. Thank you, Kaleo, for explaining this live interface. You're good. And here is Kaleo's let me do it, Kaleo. Good, thank you. I'm going to teleport to the location that he offers me. Now I'm going to do a note that do not disturb, because otherwise we will go nuts.
Okay, now let's ask Tara, shall we go to Berlin? She says, see you. Zoom in a little bit. I'm looking for a suitable dress. Apparently mine is too short.
Von Rosentulpen und Narzissen leisten sich heute die kleinsten Leute, das will ich alles gar nicht wissen. Mein kleiner grüner Kaktus steht draußen am Balkon, hollari, hollari, hollero. Was brauch ich rote Rosen, was brauch ich roten Mond, hollari, hollari, hollero. Und wenn ein Bösewicht was Ungezogenes spricht, dann hol ich meinen Kaktus und der sticht, der sticht. Mein kleiner grüner Kaktus steht draußen am Balkon, hollari, hollari.
Nobody in here.
Man findet gewöhnlich.
Let's go to Tableau. Okay, we had to cut here because we're running out of batteries. So can we see this?
Yep.
So anywhere in the lamb hair here, and really great female hair. So let me just show you if I want to buy something. This is a demo for $0. You know, you just saw that. I just tab the vendor, boom, and I buy it, and it shows up in my inventory, and it's right there. And the really cool thing is, apparently, and let's try this out. How do I reset it? Oh, here we go. I can drag it from my inventory to the floor.
Yeah.
And if the land allows me to res it, which it does, here it is. Well, this is actually this is the hair. So if I had to unpack it, I could res it on the ground. Jesus, I am a real noob, right? Well, I said that before. But anyway, so this is already the hair that I could just attach to myself. Bob will just leave it here on the ground and have the owner clean it up. You know, customer's king and all that. So let's get out of here. And here we can see a different sun setting. And it displays the dynamic shadows quite nicely. I want a longer shadow. Alright guys, that's it from the home Wi-Fi. We're now going to go out on the town and testing public Wi-Fi. We're going to have my avatar as the Neko cat from Neuralab at Humanoid Animations and trying out some dance moves. Well, that's a stress test. I think that we may see if it works for public Wi-Fi. Okay, so let's get out of here. Let's see, they have free Wi-Fi here. Does it work? Whoa, it works. It's crazy, it works. We're in public Wi-Fi and it works. All right. The Neko cat. Okay, let's try if I can hop on one of those. Not sure if they work with the doors, but the doors, yeah, this one works.
it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire.
All right, so that's it. That was us in the field, public Wi-Fi. Of course, we were the only ones in the cafe. You might not get the same results when you're at Starbucks with 20 people. I want to show you in closing what OnLive does to old laptops. This is a MacBook Pro from 2009, which never ran SL properly. And here you log in through the OnLive app, and you can see how seamless the experience is. Also, they have a kind of a game console little box that you can hook up to your TV, which we haven't tested because we do not own a TV. In closing, I think this is pretty big. You be the judge. If you want to learn more about the pricing, and I think the status now is public beta, so you have to go to slgo.onlive.com and check out the pricing. I think they sell the service by the hour, by the day. There's different packages. Also, they're updating the UI constantly depending on your feedback. The UI, the overlay, is not set in stone, and you can see how many mistakes in hindsight I made when I tested it out of the box. I didn't read the review guide, I have to admit, but that was on purpose because I wanted to see how intuitive it is without reading the manual. Alright, so that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in World. Bye.
Yeah, amazing, amazing, amazing. And you saw Fluffy there in the last little scene. I don't have any Fluffy videos lined up today. Do yourself a favor, look on my YouTube channel and check out the Fluffy stuff because I'm very proud of it. People always know me for the reportage and documentaries. They don't know me for my humor. Well, also with Pookie Amsterdam, we did it together. So this is my res day. It's Ask Me Anything. So far, 2 questions. Stranger is sitting here. He has not asked me any questions yet. He will ask it 2 minutes before we go. We have about 20 minutes more on this res day stream. Then I will go out in the physical world without my mobile phone, without my headphones, and I will reminisce about the good times and the bad times, the wonderful times. I remember the Purge in 2010 when 33% of Lindens were laid off. It was June 10th, I believe. Yeah. I remember a lot of things despite having cognitive issues at my age. But if you don't ask me anything, then I won't spill them beans. I'm just gonna play old stuff. No, stuff that I'm very proud of. So I have a whole bunch of this I found. This is we did a talk show called Lab Chat. Lab Chat, where Marianne McCann designed the logo, and I did a little intro. This is just 20 seconds. I just found this here. It's lined up. So let's play this Lab Chat thing. I think there were only like 3 shows. Here we go.
Lab Chat?
Lab Chat.
"19th of November." I should have checked what year that was. Lab Chat. I would like to play first not the Rod Humble. I think the Rod Humble story is a good one where he's introduced and he's talking a little bit from the perspective of Linden Lab within. This is part of the Drax Files World Maker series. I'm going to play another one by profiling an artist by the name of Scadius. Absolutely amazing artist. And without any further ado, I'll play this episode. This is the Drax Files World Maker series that I started in 2013, between 2013 to 2019. And yeah, amazing artist. Here's Scadius.
My name in Second Life is Scadius Poke. I am both an artist and a tiny otter.
Ah, true child of the 70s, hmm? Well, Scott, whatever floats your boat.
Well, based on my avatar, it oughter. In college, I got interested in the type of art called assemblage, which is basically making art out of found objects. Found, or they're at a thrift store or a garage sale. For one thing, I just like that it's already kind of worn in. When I discovered this virtual world in 2008, I started translating my real-life pieces using the basic Second Life building tools. Spheres, cubes, one of those rotation scripts. It would do all kinds of weird things, spin it this way, that, spin the whole piece. It dawned on me, I can do something a little extra with the piece that I created in real life. This art takes its own personality in Second Life. It builds upon the artwork in real life. My largest builds harken back to my illustration. That was the basis of my build mushroom. Instead of just applying textures, I decided I'll draw my own. The wallpaper, the flooring, ceiling. I decided it needs a ceiling fan too. Some would joke it's third life, you know. You step into yet another world within the world. The docks was another illustrative build, its own little universe, a swirling atmosphere around it, its own vegetation and life forms. There were at least 3 people who created their own stories, each with their own unique tale to tell. There was a short story, a poem, and someone else created a machinima from it.
While her son looks back at the lighthouse that isn't, they have become huge. They are a memory. They are a reminder of what isn't steady underneath.
Sometimes in art, there's this complete disconnect where there's art on the walls. Someone may come in, but they don't feel drawn to it in a personal or emotional way. By putting it in Second Life, it brings it directly to them. It becomes part of their world. Aesop's Fables started off as assemblage artwork. In addition, I created this book that's compiled of artwork and the fables themselves. I called it Assemblage. In Second Life, each of the pieces would have a little bit of animation in them. Carnival Discardia coincided with the East Austin studio tour. I converted my front room into a little gallery. There's the knife thrower act. It becomes the knife thrower who's becoming incapacitated. There's the sideshow characters. His lovely assistant. In Second Life, I created the Carnival Discardia Funhouse with Eupolenus, an artist from Paris, as well as a very talented scripter named Oberon Onmura. We were able to create this little boat, and I added some of these little undead kids. In the back seat, the avatars could hop in. It would eventually sink into the water below. Most people, when I tell them about Second Life, if they know about it at all, they had absolutely no idea about the creative component. If they see a video game environment, people automatically assume that everyone who goes in there is just kind of goofing off. By describing it to them, I think a lot of them are actually blown away. I think the internet and culture in general has freed us from these determiners of public taste. You don't have to rely on the upper echelon. This has gone right back in the hands of just regular people like you and I. Second Life is opposite of the perception that a lot of the public holds. It's not a place where lonely people go and ignore everyone. It sort of defies the rest of the digital world. It's not a competition. This isn't a race. To have this gathering that's always there, almost specifically as a meeting of minds and creativity, is quite unique. I don't see Second Life as a closed garden. Both worlds complement each other.
Isn't that amazing? Hypatia Pickens, by the way. Write down that name, folks. Hypatia Pickens is the machinima artist that was featured here. Her stuff is absolutely amazing. But Scadius is just, I mean, what can I say? This is Second Life in a nutshell. I mean, his world coming to life, the entire world, just absolutely nuts. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if we can ever top this. Maybe we should do the one with the machine. I did a piece on machinima, also a piece on Luxembourg that I have lined up. Scadius, I have to check out if he is still in SL. I lost touch with him. Just absolutely amazing. Also, how he makes his little critters there walk and a fully interactive, making the art fully interactive. So, just I haven't seen this in a long time. I don't know when I made this. This is episode 15. Probably in 2015, 2016, maybe. No. We were. It's got to be 2014. I have to check this out, but let me look this up here right now. Drax files, Scadius. This is ridiculous. 2013. This is 2013. Yeah, insane. I don't know. I mean, Zika Ghost maybe comes close to Scadius, but I don't know what Zika does in the physical world. The amazing thing with Scadius is that he obviously translates the stuff sort of verbatim into the virtual world, and then adding these affordances that the virtual world gives him. Okay, let's watch one about Luxembourg. Also, really an integration of real life and Second Life. This is also self-explanatory. Don't have to kind of preface this too much. This is a fantastic project that is also no longer, unfortunately, active in SL. This is from 2016, I believe.
We are actually in the real fort, and we're in the same place in Second Life. Under the tunnels, the mines, we turn off the electricity so that we have petrol lamps and we walk through those tunnels. In one of the towers, we have a computer room. We sit around like the Knights of the Round Table. We try and get into a kind of role play. At one point, there's no more instructions and we just see what's going to happen. My name in Second Life is Cyber Piper, but now I'm more often known as Hauptmann Weidert. We built a simulation of the Fort Tüngen in its version of 1867. The characters, the soldiers, the uniforms, the weapons and everything that was in it. Local people from here, they can discover their own history, but also tourists, because we can use these characters to tell the story. They travel back in time.
1867 was a very important year.
There was a big crisis all over Europe.
The Emperor of France wanted to buy Luxembourg.
The British called a conference in London.
They came to an agreement that Luxembourg would become totally independent.
In order to prevent a war between Germany and France.
Part of the treaty was to demolish the fortress.
Up to that point, the city was locked up at night. You weren't allowed to go out. There was hardly any culture. And then it started growing. Both culture, commerce, and inventions were starting. The beginning of our modern age as we know it now. When they decided to demolish the fortress of Luxembourg, Hauptmann Weidert decided to measure it and to construct a plaster model of the whole fortress. That model and other historical photos and maps were the basis for our recreation in Second Life. In Second Life, you have already the possibility to build things with the engine that's inside Second Life. So you can just put out a cube, you can stretch it, you can put holes in it, you can put out a cylinder, transform it, cut it. Now we have the possibility, of course, to import anything from an outside 3D building program in the shape of meshes. We use Blender and we do the textures with photo programs like Photoshop. digging into that period gave us the idea to build the whole city of Luxembourg, as it's fairly small as compared to other world cities. So we started to build the next suburb in virtual reality, the Pfaffenthal. And although the accurate modeling, the construction of the project, the detailed textures are very important, this virtual Pfaffenthal really comes to life because people start to move in and they start getting settled there, kind of like what happened in the real life of 1867. People can discover history by living in it. The Luxembourg City Museum, which is hosting our exhibit, has 10 regular computers with avatars that are already logged in and ready for visitors to explore. And we also have 2 Oculus Rift stations. I have people from all walks of life and all ages. Some are a bit scared, some say they never have anything to do with computers, but then usually they learn it pretty fast. Virtual reality does not have to be a way to cut yourself off from the real world. The big promise of virtual reality is that it can connect us with reality in a different way. I think it should be part of the future of museums. I think that every museum should have things like that. If it's a natural museum, people should be able to travel to the jungle or go under the water to discover natural life. If it's a museum about science, people should be able to travel to Mars and walk around on Mars. The point of this project is not to replace traditional history books or history courses, but just to give people a feeling of what life was back then. Children relate to this very well because they can learn history in a very playful way. As adults, we can learn from them. We can participate in shaping this story, and Second Life is the center of it.
Down here, my daughter just asked me if we're going to go down there and see the horses because she's used to going into Second Life with me. It looks exactly the same, and so she's asking for the horses.
That's the power.
Damn. I haven't seen this forever. It's what an amazing project. And I don't want to make this about me, but it's my res day, so I'm gonna no. But the way I edited this is very effective, I think. Just blending these 2 worlds. But the project lent itself to this, of course, because that was the whole purpose. And this one scene where the car goes by and then the car vanishes, and we're in Second Life, and the boy runs into the church. I mean, Cyberpiper Pitt, who you see here, and his team, all the credit goes to them. What they did here back in. This piece is from 2015, but they've done it. I don't know when they started in Second Life. It's just, boy, is this amazing. I mean, we, and by we I mean us residents, can look back to a rich history. And I know, I mean, the Lindens that I met, former and current, they are proud working for a company that facilitates the opening up the creative channels and the playfulness and enabling this and strengthening this in people that have possibly not known that they have this in them. But we all have it in us. When we're children, we play. I mean, some do destroy. Some build castles, some destroy them in the sandbox. But yeah, it's just incredible, and it never ends. This is really. I mean, I'm looking at this Luxembourg video like as if I'm like coming to this for the first time. I was like, this is really incredible. And obviously, you also saw that the Oculus worked at the time briefly. As you may know, Linden Lab pulled that support because Linden Lab could not guarantee the frame rate that is required for the Oculus to work properly, and that you don't throw up into your laptop. But VR is not even. I mean, it was exciting at the time, but anyway, I don't want to get off a tangent. I'm not excited about VR at all. I'm excited about creativity, no matter where it is. But I'm not excited. I'm not a technophile. Tech won't save us. Certainly not when the oligarchs are lining up behind an authoritarian dictator. Here we go. Oh, look at that. There's Mystic and Dex and Stranger. So let's do one last one. I'll see here is Dex is saying he started in 2008. Yeah, he'd be 15. There you go. Dex is an old timer as well. I'll play two more. Let's do one that I want to bring to your attention. I mean, I mentioned this, and I don't want to brush it off, but I also don't want this particular Res Day stream to be focused on this topic. Maybe I'll do something on this in the future, but people know that I'm a political person. I'm an activist. I used to be in left-wing radio at KPFK in Los Angeles, where I met my wife, etc. Blah blah blah. So I'm a politicized person. Right now, the country that issues my passport is fueling a genocide and mass murder of civilians, and is supporting a rogue state. And totalitarianism is also coming home here to Germany, where police brutality against people who are in solidarity with innocent people are brutally beaten by police, and it doesn't matter if they're German, Jewish, or of wherever they're from. So we live in a time where in the country of my birth, blonde, tall, young cops are beating Holocaust survivors who are in solidarity with Palestinians. This is a matter of a settler colonial state going crazy. It has nothing to do with Judaism. And it never had. If you go back to the original Zionist text, I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to read Ilan Pappé, an Israeli historian who published widely some very succinct books, some very big books. Read the succinct ones. The facts are all there. This is not a new thing. It's just the most brutal it has ever been. And it's psychotic, but it's also the silver lining is that the world is in solidarity and seeing that international law, among other things, are being treated as if they don't exist. And that's dangerous no matter where you are, if you're in the US or in Germany or in any other country. So this creeping authoritarianism, I wouldn't want to call it creeping. I mean, frankly, I don't live in a democracy here in Germany, and in my second home in the US, there's a coup happened. But the reason why I'm mentioning all this is I want to play a piece that I did on Gaza back in 2008, and I still like the piece. I would be much more forcefully in my language today. Of course, this was still sort of my post-NPR phase, and just as much as I can't listen to NPR anymore, they have good people working there, but it's so middle of the road in a time where this type of objectivity is not useful, but rather just like Chomsky wrote in Manufacturing Consent, a tool of supporting the ruling ideology. This Gaza piece I did in Second Life back in 2008, I still stand by it. I'm still proud of it. But the tone is very sort of middle of the road type journalism. This also needs no further introduction because it's all explanatory in the piece itself. It was an interesting project. And this, well, I should say this, the project that you will see there, unfortunately, people involved in this project, not the people, but the university and other entities are involved in making, surprise, spoiler alert, weapons to more effectively kill people. They're in the business of technology, in surveillance technology. There's a book called The Palestine Laboratory by Anthony Löwenstein that you should read, and that actually talks a little bit about this. So what I'm depicting in the piece, on its face, it sounds like a good idea, but the implement, well, it was never implemented. It was a kind of a university project, but those particular universities have contracts with weapons manufacturers. So this is something that I would obviously not support, but the piece in and of itself, I stand by. Here we go. An oldie but goodie. So I'm here in virtual Israel.
Increasingly, the simulated and the physical realm blur, virtuality reflecting serious real-world issues in all their complexities. Case in point, the overwhelming protests in response to the Israeli army's December 2008 Gaza operation. Virtual Israel in Second Life became a stage for a virtual shouting match that lasted weeks. Doron Friedman, who runs the Advanced Virtuality Lab at the Interdisciplinary Center's Sami Ofer School of Communications, was in Tel Aviv when Israeli bombs started targeting Hamas installations. When he logged onto a cell,
two people engaged in a conversation, relatively civilized and intelligent even, but then the other demonstrators shouted at the guys talking to me, we're here to show our outrage and not to talk to the Zionist peaks.
Doron says he was disappointed yet not surprised that even in this simulated environment it was difficult to hold peaceful discussions.
It's all a matter of expectations. Even if you have 10-20% of the people trying to reach an understanding, I still think this is better than the physical world in which the two groups would not be together because then there would be actual violence.
Activist Alex Joe Magic, Alex Nissen in real life, a member of the Coalition of Women for Peace, has seen plenty of violence. When this Australian citizen with an Israeli passport is on the ground in Gaza, her life is on the line, whether she monitors checkpoints or helps Palestinians rebuild their homes.
When you work together in a situation where I belong to the occupier and they belong to the people who are being occupied, you actually develop a very intense personal connection because all of a sudden you're on the same side against a common enemy, which is really violence.
In a talk last month organized by Peace Train in SL, Alex laid out why this recent military engagement was particularly disastrous for the Palestinians.
Gaza is about 12 kilometres wide. Now there's over 1.5 million people in Gaza. People can't escape into the sea. They can't get into Israel. Egypt sealed the border. This was really the first war where people couldn't escape.
Alex makes no secret of the fact she feels the creation of Israel in 1948 was followed by a campaign of ethnic cleansing not unlike the Holocaust, in which her own family suffered deeply. While the seemingly never-ending cycle has made many on both sides desire revenge, Alex says her personal history has been the inspiration to fight for a world without guns.
Now what came first? The chicken or the egg? The occupation or the suicide bombing? Doesn't matter. We need to stop the fighting and the arguing over the semantics, and we need to start to do everything we can to bring the two cultures together, to talk, to work for peace. Because in the end, you have to negotiate.
But a sit-down lecture with peace activists' avatars singing songs of trust is certainly different from a face-to-face meeting between bitter enemies. What role can virtual worlds like Second Life really play in serious attempts of conflict resolution? Researcher Doron Friedman has observed real-life as well as internet-based resolution meetings and says 3D platforms should not be underestimated.
Virtual worlds could be the middle ground. On the one hand, it would allow people to have meetings which are not possible geographically, and on the other hand, the experience would be more meaningful and emotional, so that the effect would be stronger than just some text chats.
This assessment is echoed by Dr. Hanan Gazit, who teaches at the Holon Institute of Technology. His company Metaverse Sense is currently developing 3D worlds where Israeli and Arab youth can interact and learn together.
This is what I call the virtual arena. Like we have in old Greece, you have a square in the middle of the square that people can come, people can express their opinions. Even negative interaction is a kind of interaction.
As enthusiastic as Hanan is about what he calls the revolution of Web 3D, he also cautions that
the technology by itself doesn't do anything. If the goal is to bridge between different parties, you need to find the right platform to afford people to communicate.
And sometimes the right platform to communicate is a place just around the corner. The Montreal Institute of International Studies recently invited Gaza resident Amr Shurab to speak at an event entitled The Gaza Question. His two brothers were killed in the invasion. The story of Amr's father, whose one son bled to death in his arms, was widely reported and spawned considerable outrage. Amr, who has been living in the U.S. since 2004, promised his father
to use my privileged position here in this country to speak about this. Tell people what happened. If people know, it's gonna make it a little less likely for this to happen again. We're not seeking retribution. We are seeking accountability and justice.
Accountability, a prerequisite to normalized relations. And no matter if the breaking down of cultural barriers happens over a plate of hummus like here at the Peace Week at MIIS or via new technology, I'd say let's not lament the perceived apathy of the young generation, but embrace their enthusiasm for change and extend some, well, trust. From Monterey, California, enjoying the possibilities of the physical world, I'm Draxtor Dupre.
Trust.
Trust. Trust. Trust. Trust. Trust. Trust. Trust.
Trust.
Trust.
Yeah, conflict resolution using virtual worlds. Dex was saying something important here on the chat, that he remembers Israel and Palestinians collaborating with peace in the concert in the physical world, trying to give a clear message they can live together. Yes, absolutely, and those things are totally important. I mean, incidentally, I ended this piece also with, so that this music festival, these things are incredibly important because war, any type of war is, of course, erasing war is destruction, and it's destroying the spirit, the soul, and the soul is best reflected through art. Art is important. So the destruction in this, and I don't want to call it war because it's a genocide. There's two different things. I mean, I'm a pacifist all the way through, but we still have to kind of distinguish because it's an asymmetrical extermination effort of an entire people, and that's been going on for 100 years. There is a book called The 100-Year War in Palestine. Very important book, but all Ilan Pappes books are important. So Ilan Pappe, look up that name and pick a book. The Very Short History of the Israel-Palestinian Conflict, I think, is his latest. 120 pages. You see everything in there, and it goes back to the late 19th century to early Zionist writings. Zionism is not Judaism, and these kind of peace efforts, but this is what I wanted to mention with what Dex is mentioning. There is a lot of amazing work in solidarity with Jewish Palestinian organizations all around the world. There's a great YouTube channel by a bunch of young people called the Hebrew Canaanites. These are people in their 20s. They live in Tel Aviv, and they are appalled by. Lots of them have folks who died in the Holocaust. They're appalled by what's going on, and they're very outspoken about their trauma being weaponized by a ultra right-wing fascist regime in Israel right now. And even if I'm obviously, I think this is incredibly important that everyone should get active and educate yourself on this conflict and check out sources, people like Norm Finkelstein, Matt Leib, who is an American Jewish comedian who completely did the right thing of using his YouTube audience to completely shift to political action. He had an interview with actress Deborah Winger, who is also an anti-Zionist Jew. But important, even if you're like, I don't care about politics, I know war is ugly and blah blah blah. If you're of that persuasion, well, more power to you. I think it's not great, but if you were inclined to say that, I would say to you that the repression will come home. And the repression, for example, here in Germany is such that I mentioned Daniel Barenboim and his son Michael Barenboim, who are very active in this using music to bring people together. Michael Barenboim played in Berlin at an event 2 days ago at a daily newspaper where an event was held with representatives from Amnesty International, and that was shut down by police, and then the venue was changed, and police forced themselves into the venue to listen. So this is, to put it mildly, highly irregular, if not illegal, that police against the opposition of the owner of that house, without any type of suspicion or suspicion of a crime being committed, demand that they would be let in by 10, 20 people and then monitor the event. So this stuff is coming home. Anyway, so I'm going to wrap it. Oh, we're about 15 minutes over. I'm going to wrap it with something a little bit more lighthearted, which is the piece with Rod Humble. Rod Humble was a former CEO of Linden Lab. And I think this is lighthearted and fun. And it's part of the Drax Files World Maker series. Here we go.
Most people in Silicon Valley have no idea that Second Life still exists.
My name is Rod Humble, and in Second Life, I am known as Rodvik Linden.
So, you are the CEO.
Indeed, I am.
Now, you guys run this enormous universe where people from all over the world make and sell the most amazing digital creations, and your colleagues ignore you. How does that make you feel?
I feel pretty good, to be honest. We have over $500 million US in user-to-user transactions. The tech press don't pay much attention to us, but folks with a creative bent are having a wonderful time in world.
After 10 years, we have 1 million people active every month, 400,000 odd people sign up every month. At least from my background, I come from the world of computer games. That never happens. Creative platforms should be tremendously long-lived. Nobody is really talking about changing canvases for painting. People are naturally drawn to being able to play rather than follow somebody else's fixed path. Adding your sense of identity, this self-expression, which is my avatar, and I know that I'm in a space that I can move around. I know that it's been made by somebody. It is more engaging. I'm not sure why it's magic, but it is. I am very uncomfortable with lack of privacy. The you that goes to church is different than the you that goes to work or is at home or is in a club. Increasingly today, those lines are getting eroded, and I think they're important. The ability for you to have a certain kind of identity in certain situations within Second Life, it's extremely empowering. I love flying around with my alts. Sometimes I'm dressed as a Greek philosopher. Sometimes I'm a spaceship. Sometimes I'm dressed as an animal. I mean, it's great. And each one of those personas, you can fully engage in a community in a way that you can't when everybody knows it's Rod Humble. At Linden Lab, we have 176 employees. San Francisco is the main office. The majority of our employees now are programmers who actually make things. For the past year or so, we have been working under the hood to improve performance, and it has been a huge effort. And that's an investment that isn't immediately apparent to people. A lot of those improvements are rolling out this quarter and next quarter, and I think people will be delighted by them. We have the Oculus Rift working within Second Life, and we are working to make it a AAA experience, particularly around the user interface. There is a dramatic transformation between older creations and ones that now you can make with current generation tools. Everything that you see within Second Life is created by the users, for the users. What emerges are these lines of business, and they rise and fall and rise, and it's wonderful. Linden Lab, we do not make the things that you see in Second Life. It's all community driven. There will be a point where you see something and you will say, I would like to be that. Second Life is ahead of its generation, but very traditional in the fact that it enables creativity. And I believe that is the most powerful form of entertainment. I am astonished that no large company has come in and said, we are going to spend $50 million building a Second Life competitor. It's how do you compete with something you don't understand?
Thank you so much, Rod, for this interview, and happy birthday, Second Life. Now, in closing, I need to know this. What is your relationship with the Second Life community? There is so much speculation.
I love the Second Life community. They've been wonderful to me.
The Second Life community gives itself a bad rap. They will tell you, oh, we're so negative and we're so drama obsessed. And it's just not true. I come from gaming communities where I receive 3 death threats in a day. I've never received 3 death threats in a day from Second Life users. I've only received 1 death threat here. For me, it's a step up.
There you have it, Rod Humble. Ay, 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 so good, so good. Oops, I just saw this chat. Mystic is very careful about what she says anywhere. Yeah, you should. You're surveilled, Mystic. I'm gonna throw you in jail. It's so funny. My son, I was in class, 3rd grade with a kind of an obnoxious kid, and his father was a local judge. And when they were like playing in the playground, this kid would always say, "I'm gonna have you arrested. My dad's a judge." Oh my God. All right, so this should conclude the rest day. I have to walk with the physical dog, but yeah, Dex is saying usual reaction when I mention SL in conversation. What is it still alive? And as you know, Dex, I mean what I said earlier, SL appeals to people who want to express themselves creatively and connect with other human beings without an algorithm interfering. And I hope that people will want to demand that more. Again, especially with this mask-off moment of the tech oligarchy, the tech oligarchs taking their mask off and completely just submitting to this raw power to this raw fascist power, because spoiler alert, capitalism does not need democracy. I'm not saying every powerful tech executive is a fascist, but they're all capitalists. And when the powers that be demand them to comply, they will comply. I mean, Musk is certainly a fascist, but some of the others are just like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? We gotta kind of comply because we need to get the, Google with the Gulf of America bullshit and stuff like that. But there's obviously also real resistance within these organizations. Tech Against Apartheid is an organization within Google. So the tech workers within these companies take their own positions of privilege, some are more privileged than others, to do the right thing. So that's very good. That kind of resistance is incredibly important. But all in all, tech won't save us. And I say this at least 10 times a day. Second Life is really the only place, and I would say, the internet at large, because Google is so dominant in search. Second Life combines all these things of connecting directly, of freedom of expression, also monetization, without an algorithm nudging you in a direction that is only beneficial to a small group of investors. I said this 5 times on the stream. Yeah. Tech Won't Save Us, by the way, is probably the greatest podcast. It's a tech podcast. I mean, it's not the greatest podcast overall. They're in the political realm, Majority Report, Bad Haspara, what Owen Jones does, Zateo, Dropside News, etc. But as a tech podcast, Tech Won't Save Us with Paris Marx is really great. Okay, thank you for being part of my Res Day, folks. I gotta go and walk the doggy. Now a lot of people are tuning in when we're wrapping up. It's so sad. So sad. Let's go back to the True Life Circus. This is the tent we're in. I'm gonna play us out with a tune. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm gonna play us out with a tune, and scrolling a little bit through my Flickr page with some more images. Okay. Let's see here. Where are we? Where's the music at? Sorry, this is Babaka Fairchild. Babaka Fairchild from Linden Lab. Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me? 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 Yeah, the music is still loud. I completely forgot something very important. Actually, Saturday is the giant snail races. Who is still here on the YouTube stream? Hello? Anybody on the YouTube stream? Do you know Racer X Gullwing's giant snail races? Hello, hello, hello. This Saturday is a Drax themed race. Saturday at 10:30 a.m. SLT. Okay? And Tindalia Soothsayer decorated this. I should turn up the light a little bit. Oh, the draw distance is very low. So this is not only about me, this is also about some other Draxes. This is the only... What the... Hold on. Ridiculous. Draw distance. This guy, I don't know who this is because I'm not in tune with popular culture. But this guy, I know who this is. This is Hugo Drax from Moonraker. Look what Tindalia did. He put the goggles around. This is insane. So amazing. Tindalia does this every week. This was built by God, what's her name? My God, Jamie Hancroft. So she built this device here, but this is all completely from scratch with the goggles I gave Dahlia, but from scratch this tower. But this is Hugo Drax from James Bond Moonraker, and so 10:30 Saturday. I have never raised. I mean, I obviously I practiced and I did it for fun, but never competitively. Okay. Here, Draxtor de Prey, beacon of Second Life freedom. Okay, you want to come and watch the beacon? Who is still here? Dex is here. Dex, can you pledge you're gonna come, please? Cheer me on. I have no fans. This is the first time. They're gonna kick me out. I'm gonna underperform. So yeah, Tindalia Soothsayer, really amazing. Oh, of course, we cannot forget this Drax over here. Drax the Destroyer. Drax the Destroyer and Drax the Imagineer. Yeah, very cool. So let's do a couple more a few more of the Flickr pages of the last 18 years, okay? With a little music here from the album. What album is this? Bread and Butter.
Ever felt that you shouldn't go, that you shouldn't interfere? Have you ever known deep in your heart that the call you just made was lost anyway? Have you ever felt that you shouldn't scream at the top of your lungs? Have you ever known deep down inside that the time to go is now? ever felt that you shouldn't go, that you shouldn't interfere? Have you ever known deep in your heart that the call you just made was lost anyway? you take on the longest coffee break? What would you say in case you stray from the path that leads down your past? What would you do in case you grew? What would you take on the longest coffee break? What would you say in case you stray from the path that leads down your past? Have you ever felt that you shouldn't go, that you shouldn't interfere? Have you ever known deep in your heart that the call you just made was lost anyway?
Okay, I gotta. Sorry, shut the music off. This is from. Oops. This is from my Bread and Butter album, but it's good music. But I want to end. The dog is fine, by the way, in case you're wondering. But I do want to end going through some of these pictures on my Flickr with a little bit of commentary. Because it brings up a lot of memories. This is the one of the early film posters of the Log Into Life documentary. Hold on, let me go back here. Just a test. So here with Gentle Heron in real life and in Second Life here with the director Daniel Moschel. Are you sure you want to leave? Yes or no? And these are all from the Log Into Life movie. Here. This is where I started working on Fluffy. This is all going to be Fluffy stuff. So let's do a few more minutes going through this Flickr. And a lot of the stuff you saw before you can see on my Flickr, and there's obviously some descriptions because I went through this stuff fairly quickly, and there's so much interesting stories. Maybe I'll do this next year. Every picture has a story. This is, of course, the Community Convention 2011 in Oakland. Metaverse, huh? Nobody used that term. I mean, people did, but OG Metaverse. This the T-shirt that came with it. These are from the Fluffy series, Fluffy on a Mission. These are the other characters in the series. This is Yobi. Here's Fluffy at his home. Here's Fluffy in Pacific Grove, California. Little Victorian villages. Here they're on hoverboards. Hoverboards are no more. Hoverboards were amazing. They had these arenas. They sold the entire arena, but they also had an arena for free there. This is the first Fluffy episode. We got so much flack for it because we said mesh Fluffy's from Primland, and then he's going to Mesh country, and he thinks, oh, Mesh is cool. And then people were commenting, you guys, you hate Prims. You want every Prim maker to die. You guys are just Mesh supremacists. These are all from the. Oh, wait, this is from California Legacy. This is the screening of Log Into Life 2011. This is Catty. My son drew a picture, and we made an avatar from it. If you see this side by side with his original drawing, it's amazing. The avatar is awesome. If you want it, send me a DM. I'll give it to you. Free! Look, we faked the news. Steve Jobs' machinima could destroy the Hollywood. Former Apple boss says CGI on the way out. Speaking through his Second Life avatar, Jobs said that the success of the Fluffy Animation series proves that frame-by-frame digital animation has run its course. Jobs added that should Machinima, which he credits executive producer Fluffy E. Fluff for in fact single-handedly creating, continue to be churned out this quality and price point, CGI is just a matter of months will go the way of vinyl records. Jobs spoke at Second Life event held in honor of the iPhone 6 reveal earlier this week. Hollywood itself has responded via various trade publications, including Variety, in which studio boss Mark Zuckerberg of Paramount, formerly CEO of Facebook, is quoted as saying, I do not believe in anonymous machinima. People want real people, even in animated shows. Therefore, CGI with its firm ties to real identity profiles is the way to move forward. The second episode of Fluffy Animation is to air in late September, according to company spokeswoman Fluffy McFluff. Spokeswoman? So this is where we faked comments. This is a Photoshop mock-up here. These comments, I don't know if you can read them. This was like one of the worst machinimas I've seen. I liked it, but really didn't understand the ending. Sucks. Totally gay. What the fuck? Another nerd crap. I have no idea what just happened. Epic fail. People still... Yeah, that's the best one. People still play that game. My ears are bleeding. Come on, his mouth doesn't even move when he talks. So this is all on the Fluffy playlist. I'm very proud of this series. Pookie Amsterdam and I did this amazing collaboration. It's in a neat playlist on the on my YouTube channel. Obviously, what was fun with these mock-ups is the fake names of these users: the Game Boss 68, Neo Time Machine 089333338, Killer Hippie Bitches. Shoot me now. Shoot me no. Oh, this is also fun. Oh, this is Popoki. She passed away. This is our cat. This was a mock of there was a Second Life ad campaign, Linden Lab ad campaign that I participated in. It's Second Life and real life side by side. They put that online. And we just did that with here's Popoki in real life, or Kathy K from Paw Paw, Missouri, turns into Catty from Katzenhausen, occupation catering. Fluffy in the Halloween special. Halloween special. Ooh, this is also, we faked the Wall Street Journal. A third life for Mr. Rosedale brewing decaf. This is from Fluffy episode 6. Mesh Noir, Fluffy episode 7. It's the same episode 1. Look at this. He went to Linden Labs. Episode 2. Here you see a little bit of the real life. Okay, I think my dog is saying something. I gotta end this. About to mesh with your mind. Let's do 10 more. Yes, Dex Stranger, I'll see you at the giant snail races. It'll be super fun. 10 more. Silly Valley. Tech news for the rest of us. This is Fluffy episode 4. Silly Valley. Second Life kicking the bucket. Guys, if you watch any Fluffy episode, watch episode 4. It starts with the Silly Valley and says, "Can Second Life survive?" Of course not. Second Life kicking the bucket. Ooh, look at this. And then we did a mock weight loss ad. Wonder who this guy is. Well, I have some eating issues. Sometimes I gain weight, sometimes I lose it. What can I say? Oh boy, I lost some weight. And it's totally irrelevant. Is it? I'm not a fitness Nazi. Fluffy, your parties are the best, says Mark Zuckerberg. Buggy Bug Eyes, it caught on in a flashy flash. Friends. So funny. Shikara Blue Android. Linden Lab. Oh, I forgot to Fluffy on a Commodore. Fluffy on a Commodore. Oh my god, we did some good stuff. This is the Halloween special. Der Spiegel. Best SL Reporter 2007. God, I gotta walk the dog. Okay, you guys gotta go and check out this. Who is this? This is Fluffy episode 6. And you'll find out who this is. Dancing with the Avastars. This is the Thanksgiving episode. Macy's Day Parade. Okay, that's it. Walking the dog. Thanks for being with me on my rest day. I see you Saturday. Please come. 10:30 a.m. Snails. Giant snails. Okay. Oakley dokley. Oakley dokley. And I'm going to say bye-bye. I'll see you at the Giant Snails on Saturday. Woohoo! What is this on button? Is this a wart on my face? No, I know what it is. I know what it is.